Hey guys and gals, let's have a look at the Nightmare Shark Ship by LEGO DREAMZzz. This is set number 71469, contains roughly 1,389 bricks, retails for $139.99, and was provided by the LEGO Group for early review. And don't get me started on the theme of this box, we'll probably save that for the review, but it's just not catching my eye, and honestly, I don't know what I'm looking at here. I don't see what it looks like a shark, maybe this right here and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I'm just not really into this theme. And there's the back of the box. And before we look at anything else, I know some of you go bonkers on minifigures, so we have Z-Blob, Noya. I'm probably going to be annoyed when I put this together. Mateo, Izzie, Snyvel, Susan, and Nightmare King. Yeah, I don't know about this one here, but that's essentially what it is. Well, let's take a closer look. Let's start with our figures. Off to the left, we have Z-Blob. Right next to him, we have Nova, Mateo, Izzie right in the middle, and we got Snyvel, Susan, and the Nightmare King. And that's pretty much it for the figures, and they're not a bad set of figures at that. Nice and bright and colorful. Matter of fact, they're the only ones that are pretty colorful in the whole set. And the print work does go back on the back of the torsos as well, as their heads are double-sided. Here is the Nightmare Shark Ship, and I'm going to save the Nightmare for the build installments. So this is essentially what we have here. It's a somewhat fully playable model, and I have it draped with minifigures, except for him. He's supposed to attach to one of these things, but he just kept falling off. So they should have had this thought out a bit better, where I can attach this vine to something, and there you got Z-Blob. And down here we got ourselves a little prison area. There's a trap door at the top, and don't worry, we'll take a closer look at everything in a bit. And we got some of these stud launchers here that I just despise using, so I didn't load them up. Here we got the front of the shark here. There we go, it's much better. You can see I got a grappling hook. And this little wheel here does control the movement of the upper jaw, so you can just rotate this and it bounces. So, but you got to have a little muscle there to turn that. There we go. Maybe turn it counterclockwise. Seems like it's a little easier. Kind of crude. And we got the little bat wings for the sails. Here's the other side. Yeah, this grappling hook just sits out here, and I hate tying knots in those strings. And yeah, you have access to the two. If you really want to get access into here, you have to lift up part of these ribs to get in there. So it's still nonetheless, but you got to have small hands to get in there too. And that's essentially what this is. And this top piece here does come out. And see, I'm just knocking figures over. It does have plenty of figures, as you saw in the previous segment, but in order to get in here I have to pop this loose. I'll show you. And yeah, it's a little bit of a pain, and this just sits in there, so you have to be careful opening this up. So you have to pop this eye thing out, and this does open up. I'm going to leave it off for sake of discussion for the review. So that's what it looks like inside. And I wish there was an easier way to take this off. It's just attached back here with a little shaft. A cross axle goes somewhere around here, right there. That's where it goes. And there's a little treasure chest buried in here with 2 gold ingots, or a trunk. So that's just sits in that little area there too. And there's just lots of little things. Like here's that trap door. Takes you into the little bed. This looks more like a bedroom than anything else. And it's got some engines and wings that flap around, and this kind of moves and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'll save my opinions for the review, but, well, we're going to take a closer look at this. Let's see if I could do this in one take. So here we have what appears to be a storage room. We got a little Easter bunny back there and some weaponry. Wow, what a nice combination that is. And we got an hourglass up here and all sorts of stuff. So the whole captain's bridge does come off. And he's even lucky he's got a tilt wheel too, huh? And here's the top where that rests at. Let me find it here real quick. There it is. And there's a close-up of that chest. It just sits in there. So what you do is you're going to have to close this up. And then you're going to have to set this and line up this cross axle right up in there. Hard to do it one-handed though. But, oh, I got it on there. Now, if that's placed on there, you can't open that up. And then this eye thing. Gotta love my reviews, huh? And this just sits in here. I don't know what that is for. I've never seen the animation before, but you gotta swing these out of the way. And I know my hands are in the way here. Just set that in there and just push this down. It's a bit crude, but that's how it's supposed to attach. Now, there's a lot of little pieces with this set. A lot of detail and stuff like that. There's the sails, if you want to call them that. And here's the handle here that controls the grappling hook, so I can just pull it. And I don't know what you'd use this for here. I mean, I can just see that breaking apart, and if you're done with it, just wheel it back up in there. And the jaw does open up. So, yeah, if you want, you can swallow something whole. We already got parts coming off. Like I said, we'll save that for the review. I like that lantern idea. May have to snag that for a city build or something. And yeah, especially for you parents out there, you got a lot of stud launchers with this set, so look who's going to be picking those up off the carpet and off the floors and stuff, or who's going to be walking on those. Here's that little prisoner area of the bedroom. I mean, it's got a nice comforter. Let's open this up here and I'll show you. A little pillow and everything, and here's the hatch that opens up on the top. Just put some more light in there. That's a nice color combination for a bedspread, but comforter, but not for that. And somebody just left a comment on one of my YouTube videos. And I like these metallic, opaque pieces. No, those are not stickers. There's actually printed tiles behind there with eyes on it. Just kind of looks more three-dimensional. And you got these things that kind of spin around. It looks futuristic, but honestly, yeah, I'll save that part for the review. I'm just tempting to say it now, but I'll hang on to it. And I'm trying to think of anything else I'm missing in here. It's the color scheme that I'm trying to get past here. Now remember, rotate it counterclockwise, and you can see how this does. And there's a little rubber thing in there to keep it from clinky, so it's really quiet. And let's see, anything special with the back? It's a very long, large, tall model. And that's pretty much what it is. I'm by all means not familiar with the Dreams theme at all. It's the Nightmare Shark ship. Yeah. Nightmare is an understatement. Now, for everyone's favorite part is the review, and we're going to start with build experience, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this one. This set was absolutely boring. I kid you not. When I was building it, at first it started out okay, and then we started getting to the dark colors, and that's where the build took a turn, and not for the best. It took a turn to the dark side, actually. And I was losing interest real quick. Matter of fact, when I was doing the build installments of this, I only had 2 bags left, and I just said, no, I gotta stop. I gotta let my eyes cool down. I was getting drowsy and stuff. So if you're looking for a very dull build, this is it. Especially from an adult's point of view. And I'm sure probably for a young one who's interested in this theme, this is probably gonna be fun. But for me, this just didn't do it. So the build experience was lacking for me anyways. It just wasn't a really good build. Build quality, I'd say it's average to slightly above average. When I was building stuff, I had a few things fall off, but nothing major. What makes the set just slightly above average, though, is it's not really easy to move this around. You notice I have it on a turntable. I really haven't moved it since I did the build. It's pretty big. These do come off and stuff like that, but if you want to change the themes around on it, but for me, I'm just going to keep it just like this. It's just big and bulky. Play value, on the other hand, was pretty good. See, there's a lot of things you can do here. You do have your 4 minifigures, you got 2 figures, you do have access into here. The grappling hook does come out. You can make the jaw flap up and down. You have access into this. This is probably the only exception. You have to pop this off in order to open this up, but it's not really in terms of you can just reach in and grab something out real quick. So the play experience is there. It's just you're going to have a little work to get to it. It's not short on play experience whatsoever. Now for city drop-in value, you really can't drop this in a city as is. Now it's a complete model, but I mean honestly, who'd want this ugly thing in his or her city, right? I know I wouldn't. Now for mock value, there is some good building strategies and techniques out of here. Or if one could, just modify this up, change the colors out, and make this into something more pleasant instead of the black and the magenta. It just looks a bit gothic as is, but nonetheless, though, it does have some mock potential. Now, as for collaborative build, it's non-existent with this set. Only one person can build this. So if you're building this and you're getting bored, you may want to have friends take turns in building parts of this. You can't just have 5 or 6 people working on this at the same time. This is going to be a very slow build, especially with it having 1,389 bricks. It felt like it was taking me forever to put it together, so I wish I had somebody else help me put this together to make the build not so long and dreadful, but yeah, I kind of wish there was more of a collaborative build with this. Now, for the retail price of $139.99, this is essentially what you're getting. You're getting several minifigures, and you get a playable model, but that's it. And it's just too large to really move around. So I would classify this thing more as a display piece than anything else. That would look good on a shelf or maybe a backdrop. But for play value, no, it's there. Like I'd mentioned, this is probably the only issue right here. Do I think it's worth it? I'd say this is about averagely priced for what it is. You're getting about 10 cents bricks. That's not too bad. But for the most part, though, for $139.99, this is pretty much what you're getting here. So my final score on this set is going to be a 7 out of 10, mainly being the build experience. It was just lacking for me, and of course the collaborative building. Those are the 2 main things that hit it hard. I had one element here that was scuffed a little bit, but not enough to warrant a point being taken off. But I'm looking at the playability, which the set has, but that's the only thing it has going for it. It doesn't have any room for collaborative build, and it doesn't have a nice bright color scheme. So I'm sticking with my score of 7 out of 10. Now I want to hear what you guys and gals think of this set. Tell me what you think about it. What do you feel? Is this something you're going to run out and buy? Especially if you're into the Dreams animations and stuff. But let me know. I'm kind of curious, because this set just didn't do it for me.